Welcome everyone to NoDQ&A video here on NoDQ.com. Last night was the 3-hour Slammy Raw. Got a lot of questions here regarding the Slammys. Also got a lot of questions regarding the return of Kane. So let's just start right off with Kane's return. I thought it was awesome. I think WWE did a really good job with Kane's return. It's been speculated for months that he would come back with a mask. I talked about it going back to August. So it finally happened now, and I think it's the right move for business. I mean, Kane's character was stale, and it's something different for him. And, you know, you can market those masks. WWE's trying to break the record for WrestleMania to have the most masks in one place at one time. So we'll see what happens there. But, you know, I love the new mask design. I know some people are critical of it and wanted to see something like the old mask. But, you know what? It looks like a molding of The Undertaker's face. And I think that's brilliant in a way because they are brothers after all, and it got people confused. I mean, there were people on Twitter saying, oh my God, it's The Undertaker under the mask, but it's actually Kane. And yes, it is Glenn Jacobs under the mask, and that's not his real hair. It's impossible to grow your hair that long from being bald in 6 months, unless you use, not even with Brogaine, let's put it that way. But yeah, so very entertaining segment with Kane, and overall, I thought it was a very entertaining Raw. I know that there are some people critical about the show, that it was too over the top and too stupid, but you know what? You should have known better. Every year WWE does the Slammy Awards, and it's always over the top and silly. That's the way they've always done it. And you know, WWE does this type of comedy, you know, going back to the mid-'80s. I mean, back in the TNT days, they did this really goofy, over-the-top comedy. And you know what? If you're just gonna complain about it, just stop watching. I mean, I see these people that just bitch and bitch and bitch about it. You know what? Go watch your MMA shit. You know, really. But yeah, like I said, I thought it was a good Raw, and yeah, TLC doesn't really look all that appealing. But you know what? The pay-per-views, I get the impression that they're on their way out, and when the WWE Network arrives, that WWE is going to cut some of these pay-per-view shows and just make them special, so it doesn't really matter overall. All right, let's get down to some other questions here. When do you think the WWE started toning down their product? And do you think that Finlay had a good run with WWE? I think they started toning it down after Benoit's death. You know, they were getting all that negative publicity, and they just decided they needed to move in a different direction, I think, around that period, like late 2007, early 2008. And regarding Finlay, I think he had a really good run, all things considered. I mean, the guy was already into his mid-40s when he started wrestling in WWE. He actually was an agent going back to after WCW folded, so he had already been there for several years. And yeah, I mean, I think he should feel fortunate that he had the opportunity, considering his age, and he's not exactly, you know, like the most fit wrestler, even though his name is Fit Finlay, but you know what I mean, like jacked up and, you know, that sort of thing. Hey Aaron, do you think WWE should have just had ECW as an occasional pay-per-view thing instead of making it a weekly show? I think they should have just left things alone with one show, and the second One Night Stand was pushing it a little bit, but if they just left it with that, I think it would have been better than what they actually did. The thing is, you cannot replicate the same ECW style show night after night after night. And as a wrestling promotion goes, you need to evolve and you need to push new characters. And ECW One Night Stand was a nostalgia show. That's what it was. So you're not going to be able to have Tommy Dreamer and Sandman and RVD doing their thing night after night after night because it was already done. So it was a really bad idea to make it a weekly show. And yeah, they should have just left things alone. Why Booker T is not a full-time wrestling? Okay. WWE desperately needs stars in both shows, and I think he could feud with high mid-cards to get them over. Well, regarding Booker T, he is going to be feuding with Cody Rhodes. He's got a match this Sunday at TLC, so he's not going to be wrestling full-time. The reason is, you know, the guy's pushing 50. He's in his late 40s, and he just doesn't want to be on the road full-time doing wrestling. So with this feud with Cody Rhodes, he can still wrestle a little bit and have one last run, so to speak, but yeah, I don't expect Booker T to, you know, be a full-time performer ever again. I just think, you know, he's past that and he's at the point where he's slowing down in his career. He's not going to all of a sudden have this big run again. Hey Aaron, what is your favorite year in the WWE/WWF? In my opinion, my favorite year is 2000. I would have to say 1998 because that was the peak of the Steve Austin era. That was when WWE really turned things around and became the #1 wrestling company again. That's when they took back their top spot from WCW. And you had Steve Austin versus Vince McMahon, all those classic moments, the Zamboni, going to the hospital, pulling the gun on Vince. And you had the rise of The Rock, you had the rise of Triple H. Just so much stuff in 1998, that put Raw on the map again. And I'd also say 1997, but that was when they were still trailing behind WCW and they were still figuring out what they were doing with the Attitude Era and what direction they were going in. But by 1998, they had it all down. So I would say 1998. All right, that'll do it for today's edition of No DQ&A video. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. What did you think about Raw this week? What do you think about Kane's return? Did you like the new mask? What do you think about the Slammy results? What do you think about TLC? Leave a comment, youtube.com/NoDQ&AV. And please subscribe. Please spread the word. I really do appreciate it. And on that note, we'll see you next time.